And joining me now is Margaret Tolive. Thanks for being here. You're the director for Syracuse University's Institute for Democracy, Journalism, and Citizenship, which conducts the poll with Ipsos. So thank you for being here. Margaret, let's start with this. Americans were asked about President-elect Donald Trump's original nominees for his appointments. Many of them simply said they don't know who they are. We've got some numbers for you which we could share. 62% said they did not know who Pete Hegseth was, Trump's choice for defense. 62% for Kristi Noem, his pick for Homeland Security Secretary. 52% for Tulsi Gabbard, his nominee for Director of National Intelligence. And 43% for Matt Gaetz, his initial choice for Attorney General. Meanwhile, they do know Elon Musk, people calling him weird and innovative. So Margaret, what do these numbers tell you about Trump's picks so far?
Well, one thing it tells me is just that the average American is concentrating on their own daily lives and is not into the nitty-gritty of nominations for cabinet positions. But if you look a little deeper beneath the numbers, and you're right, it's like the celebrities who they know. They know Dr.
Right.
Oz, RFK Jr., and Elon Musk. But if you look a little bit deeper, these numbers also really tell us how divided Americans are and that these are not bipartisan picks. They're not even trying to be bipartisan picks. The only group of Americans who support really any of these nominees are Republicans. Democrats, very low support. Independents, a third at best support.
So a real partisan split there. Something else I want to talk about, President-elect Trump is promising to use the U.S. military to carry out his plans for mass deportation efforts, and we do have some numbers on that as well. The majority of Americans do not seem to support using the military for that. According to the poll, only 33% say they support using money allocated to the U.S. military to pay for deportation. 65% oppose it. And while 41% support using the active duty military to find and detain undocumented immigrants, 57% are against it. So using the military, not widely supported, but Margaret, overall, it does seem that Americans support a mass deportation effort, right?
They do. And this survey shows us that 69% overall of U.S. adults are saying they support the U.S. government having a policy of deportations for undocumented immigrants. But when you get into a little more detail, you see that support really plummeting. And again, the support numbers overall are really buoyed by Americans who identify as Republicans. There's much less support among Democrats and independents. But that 69% support drops considerably down to 41% when you ask them about using the military. It's even lower when you ask them about should military money be used for it. It's down to 37% when it comes to people who were brought to the United States by their parents or by somebody as children. Many fewer Americans want to deport those people. And on the other end of the spectrum, 11% of Americans saying they actually want to deport legal immigrants as well.
Interesting numbers there. I want to talk a little bit about what we saw about democratic norms when we look at some of the numbers. 88% said Trump should have to follow the same rules as any other president with Congress authorizing legislation and approving high-level officials. 71% said it's absolutely important to live in a country where there are free and fair elections in this country. So it seems Americans are still concerned about democracy and law and order, right?
Absolutely, and this is a real warning sign to President-elect Trump. It does suggest that people were voting on the basis of inflation and just wanting a return to pre-COVID times, not for a total blowing up of government and plowing through norms. So we'll see what happens, but these numbers are a pretty good indication of where Americans are at right now.
All right, Margaret Tolive, you're the director for Syracuse University's Institute for Democracy, Journalism, and Citizenship. Thank you so much for your time today.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.